Waterloo is typical of ambulance stations all over London. Staff feel they're grossly underpaid for the work they do and fully support a ban on overtime due to start next Monday. 999 cover will be maintained, but people who rely on non-emergency ambulances to take them to hospital, for example, could face long waits or no service at all. In London, a qualified ambulance driver earns around £10,000 a year, but that's up to £4,000 less than other emergency service workers. They say their pay's fallen so far behind, the 9.3% on offer is not enough.
I think we should be put on parity with the other emergency services, the fire brigade and the police, and I think it's a bit of an insult, to be honest, to keep us at a lower standard than the other emergency services.
We've stuck to the 5 and 6% mark over the last 3 years, where we were promised to be kept on a comparison with some of the other services, and it just hasn't materialised.
The crew we joined today often answer more than a dozen emergency calls a shift, work long and unsociable hours, often without a break. Members of the public watching the crew attending to this woman who'd collapsed in the street supported their campaign for more pay.
They do a lot of work there, and they're hard work, and the problem with the people, you know, when the people are awkward, some people, they have to put up with that as well, and abuses. Yes, they should have more money.
The unions have rejected an offer which would give London ambulance staff a 9.3% rise on their current earnings. The deal means London waiting would be incorporated into basic pay with changes to other allowances. But the unions say they want a straight pay rise before discussing changes to allowances. They're asking for around 11% and say only a 6.8% rise in basic pay is on offer.
Here we have seen the last 3 years the ambulance staff becoming the Cinderella, quite literally the Cinderella of the emergency services.
So what is morale like at the moment?
Morale is certainly at rock bottom, and that's coming through fast and furious with the response that we've had from ambulance staff, where we believe it is going to be a massive majority in favour of industrial action. That in itself shows that our members are voting with their feet.
While staff say emergency cover will be maintained, London's ambulance chief says an overtime ban would have an effect.
We do expect, if there is industrial action, that they will ban overtime. Now that will affect our service, because due to our staff shortage, that we do rely on overtime to a certain extent to man up our vehicles, particularly over weekends and at night time. So it will affect the emergency service in one way or another.
You don't know quite by how much?
It is impossible to say at this point in time, no.
Do you think there is a fair offer on the table?
Well, I've got to speak for London, and only for London, what they have done, they've taken their basic salary, they've amalgamated that with their London waiting allowance, and on top of that they've offered them a 9.3% increase. Now in today's rate, I feel that is a reasonable offer to make.
The exact effect on London's ambulance service won't be clear until the overtime ban starts next week. But with staff in defiant mood and with much sympathy from the public, they're prepared for a long fight. This is Mike Pearce with the London Ambulance Service for Thames News.